Hi, this is Leora Lanz, and you're listening to Marketing Mindset Lessons from Hospitality, the podcast where I speak with some of my amazing friends throughout the global landscape of hospitality and marketing. We will share best practices that you can use in your business, whether it's in traditional hospitality or not, whether you are an emerging leader in the industry, or seasoned and wanting to stay fresh and always learning. If you're an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, you need a marketing mindset. Whether you're marketing a business or yourself, we all need a marketing mindset. We know you're busy, but take a listen and figure out how you can apply this fresh thinking to your world, both professional and personal. Let's all think like a marketer.
Welcome back for another conversation on the Marketing Mindset podcast. Marketing Mindset Lessons from Hospitality, based on the books of the same name, the companion set series that I authored in 2025 and in 2026, Developing Your Marketing Mindset, Real World Lessons from Hospitality, and its sister book, its follow-up book, Marketing Mindset in Motion, inspired by hospitality, because everyone should think like a marketer, whether marketing is in your title or not, and because every business should have hospitality. That's actually what is the marketing, is our hospitality. If marketing is about connection and hospitality is about connection, your hospitality is your marketing. I also go a little bit deeper in these books about marketing with meaning, conscious marketing, responsible hospitality, elevating messages of wellness, sustainability, and community to more meaningfully connect, to get more brand loyalty and advocacy, and because people will spend more money with your business when they know what you're doing for wellness, sustainability, and community. Welcome back to the Marketing Mindset podcast conversation. And today is going to be fun because we're talking to a recent college graduate who has evolved her marketing mindset, never expecting to, and is going to be applying it in her work going forward post-grad. It's going to be my pleasure to share a little bit about a former student of mine, a recent graduate from Boston University, Miss Kaiyn Grierson. And before we bring her in, let me share a little bit about Kaiyn and her impressive work. Kaiyn is a 2026 graduate of Boston University's School of Hospitality with a strong passion for restaurants, food and beverage, and of course, experience-driven hospitality, particularly in urban spaces. As a first-gen college student, congratulations, Kaiyn, she approaches her work with both creativity and intention, focusing on how thoughtful service and curated experiences can foster connection and community. Kaiyn most recently served as a senior vice president for Saxby's. We're going to talk a little bit about that, where she developed a deeper understanding of customer engagement, team leadership, and brand experience at the store level. This role strengthened her ability to think like a marketer, yay, in real time, focusing not just on transactions, but on building relationships, shaping customer perceptions, and creating consistent, memorable experiences. Kaiyn's background also includes internships in food and beverage, luxury hotels, event planning, and marketing experiences as the campus ambassador for La Colombe Coffee and for Tilden. Through these experiences, she built a marketing mindset rooted in storytelling, guest engagement, experiential branding. She's especially passionate about creating spaces that feel inclusive and empowering, with a long-term goal of building a concept, this is cool, that blends hospitality, events, and branding while supporting and uplifting women of color in our industry. It is my pleasure to bring in Kaiyn Grierson.
Hi.
There she is. Hi, Kaiyn.
Hi,
How are
Joy.
you?
I'm well. How are you?
First of all, congratulations on your graduation.
You?
And SVP as a college student.
Mm-hmm.
What is Saxby's, Kaiyn, and how were you SVP to get this marketing mindset going?
Right. So, what is actually such a big question because it's a multitude of million of things. But I think the best way I would describe it is it's a place for, at least on our campus, a place for students to learn about real world leadership skills and have fun. So, our cafe is totally run by students on the Boston University campus. And it's starting up from the team leads who are making your beverages every day to the SEOs who are doing the ordering, who are
What does
doing
SEO stand for? What does SEO stand
well, it's
for?
gonna be your student chief operating officer, and we
Okay.
usually have 2 here at BU, and they're the main ones who are in charge of our whole campus cafe, so they'll make sure that your schedule's on time, they make sure that we have enough coffee or cold brew in the cafe, things like that, and then we have students like me who are like student vice presidents, so I was the student vice president of marketing, and then my coworker was student vice president of recruiting, so we're in charge of making sure that the campus and cafe is stocked with students who are ready to work. And then for me, making sure that students on campus know what Saxby's is, know what our campus is, our cafe, and actually want to come and join.
So Saxby's, for anyone who's not familiar with, is actually a national brand
Mhm.
company of cafes on college campuses
Right.
for students, run by students.
Mhm.
And that's how Kaiyn got to have this. Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think you would be an SVP of marketing of all things?
No, it's so funny because when I first started college and everybody was asking me, "Oh, what are you going to concentrate in?" And I really wanted to run away from marketing because I felt like
I love.
everybody was doing it. And I was like, I don't want to, be like everybody else, or I don't know if I am cut out for that role. But
Okay.
as you know, after taking your class, I think that's when it really started to hit me, especially because I really enjoyed the company Summer Shack that I work with during your class and being able to kind of just rebrand a brand or make it come alive or make it become more approachable to my generation or another generation that they're looking for. That's when it really started to hit me like, wow, I can do marketing and I can enjoy marketing at the same time.
I
So
love that. I love
yeah,
that. So
this role has been amazing.
So you just mentioned Summer Shack, which is a terrific seafood restaurant with a terrific history and pedigree and legacy in the city of Boston, operated by the Lions Group of Restaurants, which has multiple independent restaurants that they operate. You've had a lot of hands-on experience in a short amount of time.
Yes.
This role at Saxby's, our class project, which I will never take lightly, you will never take that lightly because this was so hands-on. You had 15 weeks of immersing into the
Yes.
Summer Shack experience. So how did you feel Saxby's role, Summer Shack, maybe some of the other projects or experiences you've had, this hands-on experiential learning, how did that help you create, quote, a marketing mindset, your definition of a marketing mindset?
So I think I started thinking like a marketer when I realized that everyone in hospitality or like everything in hospitality is about perception and experience, which is what I believe hospitality is in general, but also being able to bring that in the marketing mindset or marketing perspective really opened my eyes. It's not just about what a company can offer you, but it's how the people feel or remember or talk about it after. It's how the space and like in the cafe, how we're making the environment or the ambiance feel to a person to make them want to come back is really what I think shifted my marketing mindset and made me really think like a marketer because I love food and beverage. I love events. I love experiences because they make you feel the same thing. So being able to do that with partnering with influencers or hosting events in the cafe for marketing really made me say, wow, this is what a marketing mindset for me is.
So you mentioned the word feeling, which we hear a lot when we talk about marketing, because it is
Mhm.
about in hospitality, it's about how we make people feel,
Right.
right? So let's talk about, because you've mentioned this, you and I have talked about this, the difference between transactional, which I think is what you were just alluding to, and relationship driven as part of the brand experience. You just sort of alluded to the fact that you got to see that firsthand. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'll really start with relational because that's what our Saxby's marketing brand is really based on. Here on the BU campus, we make sure that if say a club wants to partner with us to host an event or if they want, coffee or catering for their club or for their event, that's what we want to do. We want to be able to, if we can sponsor a club's event, like give them free muffins or give them, a pitcher of cold brew coffee for their event at no cost and that makes them realize, oh, Saxby's is here for us. It's not just a typical brand that's just like, oh, I have to pay. And then at the end of the day, transactional, we're done. But they can come back to us. They can say, hey, can I go to your influencer party? Or, hey, I have this idea of creating like a brand or a marketing strategy. Can I use your brand as a idea or a case study or a concept? Being able to always be able to come back and say, hey, I know Saxby's and I know that they're always willing to work with us is probably one of the core identities, at least for our marketing strategy here on
So
campus.
it's not like you're just sort of comping things and giving things away.
No.
There's a reason for it, and you've become a value add. You've
Right.
become a trusted partner, and you've become the entity or the business that others can rely on. So they'll think of us top of mind to use
Exactly.
this for their events. Love that. I know you had to read the marketing mindset book that I wrote because I can't help myself, but I made it required. And in this section, there was a section called the brand of you. So we're going to shift gears for a little bit because you and I have talked about this also. Personal branding, especially as a student.
Mhm.
Tell me what your thoughts are now that you understand a little bit about how to think like a marketer. You understand more than a little bit, but now that you think like a marketer, marketing yourself and branding yourself. What are your thoughts on that?
That's such a good question because I think this really applies to especially being a student post grad and thinking about my next move or my next opportunities. How I want my brand to be perceived is really going to be based on how, like, what I'm looking to go for. So if I'm applying
Right.
for a food and beverage position, my identity or my brand marketing is going to be different than if I was applying for a marketing position. I want to elevate the experiences that I had that are most strong compared to what the role is asking or offering. So I think it's really allowed me to look like, hey, I can't just give out a generic resume every time I'm applying for an interview for a job. I need to curate this. I need to know who my audience is. I need to know what they're targeting, what they're looking for, and then present myself in that way or just find the best parts of myself that I really apply to that position or things like that.
So what I'm hearing, which I love, is that you're very intentional. This is still authentic. We're just sort of repositioning our
Right.
strengths to be very intentional about how you're branding yourself, whether it's for a
Mhm.
professional employer or for a current employer for that matter.
Exactly.
Awesome. I know that you're someone who's always enjoyed participating and working behind the scenes in events. And you mentioned events as you were talking earlier about Saxby's too. How do you use events, or if you have any examples, as a way to create sort of engagement or creating memorable experience for people? What do you think of when you think of events?
Oh, when I think about events, I think the first word that pops into my mind is joy. Like, I want people to really have fun and enjoy coming to an event. I want my events to be very interactive because I don't want people to come, have their food, have their drinks, and then just sit around wondering what's next. I want you to kind of be on your toes, like, here comes this fun raffle that we're gonna play. Here's a live band for you to listen to. I want it to feel interactive and I want you to feel like you're actually a part of the space. And that's similar to one of the events we had this semester at Saxby's. We did a yappy hour in spritz. So we were launching our new spritz matchas at the time. And we wanted to make it similar to a happy hour, of course, with no alcoholic beverages, just our
Right.
matchas.
Right.
So we just wanted it to be a chill, relaxed space on a Friday afternoon where students could come in, have some music, get some, grilled cheese bites, try some of the matchas, and play games and really just enjoy a nice spring day that it was. So that's what I really want people to feel like they are a part of a space when they enter one of our events and things like that. And I want them to leave wanting to come back and wanting to know, oh, what's next? What's the next event? What's going to be more?
Love that. What was the strategy you used, Kaiyn, for creating these events? Was it every so often? Was it periodic? Were they different each time? What was
Mhm.
the strategy behind? Because I would imagine Saxby's didn't just have one event. It wasn't just a one-off.
Right.
How does that work, or how did you do that?
It really depends. So we try to curate our events based on what our new launches are during that time. And at that time, it was our matcha spritzes. And for
Okay.
this one, typically we do our events more curated to influencers or partners with clubs that we're having. But for this one, we really wanted it to be intentional and get the whole community involved just to try it out because it really was something that we've never done before. But we wanted to see, hey, if we involve the whole community, not just influencers or not just clubs that we partner with, what could be the difference? What could really happen? What could change? Could this, increase people's want to come to our brand and want to come and enjoy Saxby's? And it did. Our sales were up very high during that time, especially during the few hours during the event. After people got to taste some of the matchas, they said, oh, I need more, or oh, I want more. So it shows that there are many different strategies that you can have to include people in your events or things like that, whether it be just influencers or whether it be the whole community that you're instilling or that you're a part of.
Okay, fantastic. Um, we're going to switch gears again because you and I have a few other things in common besides our passion for hospitality, besides our passion for restaurants and for food, because we keep seeing each other at all these food events, you and I. Um, France. You and I have a passion for Paris, and I know you did study abroad in
Yeah.
Paris. I was blessed to teach in Paris a few times, which Paris holds a very special place in my heart for that reason, because to be able to live it and live there is
Mhm.
so special. Just frankly, living abroad anywhere is such a special opportunity and such a transformational experience. You did do study abroad in Paris. How did that influence your hospitality mindset, your marketing mindset? What did you learn from your time there?
Well, my time in Paris was absolutely amazing. I wanna say that I think the first or most thing that pops into my head is the culture difference, like,
Okay.
just from how Americans and especially Europeans in general, but particularly the French and Parisians, how they say, for example, food and beverage, how they enjoy their restaurants. It's more of a slower pace. Here in America, we're like, "Okay, I'm gonna eat, gonna get my appetizer, my entree, I want my drink, and then I'm leaving, like, I need to check." In Paris, it's like, "Okay, I'm gonna maybe order my little entree, sit, have a glass of wine, the waiter's not gonna come give you your check unless you ask for it." We could literally be there for hours.
Yes.
And I think just being able to see, like, the difference between how we interact with different hospitality aspects was very enlightening. I think for me, I like to see that a lot of the Parisian or French aspects of hospitality was very intentional. They're not just here to do a service because they're getting paid or because they have to. They're here because they want you to have an experience. They want you to
Right.
feel welcome. They want you to feel like a family. It's not just about, making sure that I don't get written up or making sure that my, ratings on this website are high. It's because they
Right.
actually
Right.
enjoy the food that they're making, enjoy the service that you're having, and then honestly develop friendships out of it too. A lot of the time we went to French restaurants, a lot of the servers were very open to learning more about you, having little conversations, little jokes, things like that, instead of it feeling like a rushed job and you're just a number.
Right. What other experiences did you have in Paris that shaped the restaurants? I completely understand what you're talking about.
Mm.
What other experiences did you have there where you felt, I don't know, it just sort of influenced how you look at hospitality or how you look at marketing?
I would definitely say being able to see different versions of what they call hospitality. Like hospitality is found
Mm.
every place that you go, whether it's a river boat cruise on the Seine, or if you're going to a museum visit, hospitality is there. They want you to feel like wherever you're stepping into a curated feeling or a curated experience that makes you feel joyful, makes you want to remember this experience. Like if you're going into the Louvre, once you go down those escalators, you're transported into a whole new world. You're given maps, you're given speakers to know what's going on. There's easy access to different points of places that you want to see. For me, that's hospitality. They're making sure that you are comfortable in the space that you're entering, that you're understanding what's going on, and that they want you to feel like you are a part of the scene that you're entering. Same for if you're going to a hotel and if you're enjoying a stay at a hotel, and this is for mostly all of Europe as well, you're entered in a place that feels like family. You're given
Mm.
recommendations on, hey, just so you know, my favorite restaurants are these three down the street, and I know the owner, so why don't you let them know that I sent you? Or they're saying, hey, this boat cruise or this pasta making class is one of my favorites. It's making sure that they're giving you recommendations to make you feel like you're not just a tourist, but you're somebody that can be fully transported into their world while you're staying there.
Love that. I appreciate that. You know, when I introduced you, Kai, I concluded with a sentence, and I'm going to repeat it because it really is impressive, and I want to hear what you mean by all of this. You've got a long term goal of building a concept that blends hospitality,
Mhm.
events, which we just talked about both, branding, we've talked about marketing, of course, while supporting and uplifting women of color in the industry.
Right.
Why are you determined to do this? How have you not experienced it? Tell us why. Why is this so critical for you?
It's really important, especially for me, to uplift women of color in this industry because it's very rare that you see us in these type of industries, especially in executive roles like CEO positions or manager positions. Personally, when I first started working in the industry, I didn't really see a lot of people that looked like me, and if I did, they were mainly particularly men of color. I
Mm,
want to be able to I remember hearing this quote from a conference I went to that if you can see it, you can be it.
yeah,
And being able to go to a conference and see people like women of color who are owning restaurant groups or owning their own hotels, being sommeliers, being people that I want to eventually like get to that step makes me want to
right.
work harder, but also be that person for the generation after me to see that this is something that you can do, that women of color and just people of color in general don't have to do um the more obvious roles of careers such as like just being in STEM, that there is room for us in hospitality, and hospitality is yearning for the diversity, for the differing of mind, the different opinions that we have and our different backgrounds to really influence this type of industry. So being able just to allow women and younger generations who are going to come after me to know that this is a possibility and that they can thrive in this industry has always been a goal of mine.
Cheers to you, Kaiyn, for that. And anything that any of us can do to support you, we are here because it's
Thank
key and it's critical and it's an admirable and a necessary
you.
mission and goal. So cheers to you for that.
Thank
Um, what are you doing next?
you.
What comes after college?
So I will, after my 3 months of rest, I will entering the Kedge School of Business, getting my Master's of Science in Wine and Hospitality Management in Paris, France, and their campus there.
Great. That is great. And how are you hoping? Is that a 1 year program, Kaiyn? How
It's
long is that?
actually a 2-year program.
Fabulous. And then how do you anticipate your long-term goal of building some kind of brand
Mhm.
that intersects hospitality with events to hopefully uplift other folks who look like you? Do you have any thoughts on what that could be just yet? Or are you hoping business school will help you get there? What
I
are you
have
thinking?
few ideas, but of course, I'm open to my mind being changed as I go through the different schooling and processes. But I really want to have my own restaurant group towards like my end long-term goal, that I'm able to combine like wine and then having more of a smaller I would say something that's very intimate space for people to enjoy wine pairings with food. And particularly where I'm at right now is having like a space that's combines like uplifted soul food to pay
Mm.
homage to my culture and my background, and then pair that with more of a my passion for France and my passion for wine, more of like wine pairings from European countries, particularly France, that combines with those type of flavors or recipes and things like that.
Oh, I can see this coming together. This sounds so good. I am super excited for you, Kaiyn. You know, when I heard you over the last few months in particular with your marketing mindset in motion, um, I was just thrilled. And the fact that you have it very curated and you are very self-aware with it is really fantastic.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you want to share as we wrap this up now for anyone who might be listening to us, and for anyone who might be watching this on YouTube, particularly for maybe other folks who look like you,
Mhm.
kind women of color, or young students who might be about to graduate or finish college, any recommendations, advice, or marketing mindset messages that you want to share, that you want folks to take away from your experiences?
I would honestly say to be open. When I first went into college, I was like, I'm gonna do restaurants and that's it. I don't want to touch anything else in hospitality. But being able to go through BU and being forced to try different classes from hotels to marketing to even accounting,
Forced in a good way.
in a good way, in the best way, not
Required.
forced. Yeah. Um, it really allowed me to open up my mind and say, wow, it's something that I'm actually really interested in. This is something that I could potentially see myself doing if I wanted to do a separate career path. At the end of the day, of course, I still love restaurants, food and beverage, but I also have found a passion for events. I've
Yeah.
also found a passion for marketing. So I would say the biggest thing is be open. You never know what one class could lead you to do. I never thought that I would be a marketing student vice president of a brand. I didn't even know I could be a marketer until taking classes at Shaw. So being able to just have an open mind and just go and say yes. Say yes to any opportunities you have, especially in
Mm.
college, especially when it comes to careers, because you never know where that might lead you. And secondly, I would probably just say to not be scared. Go after what you want. Even if it's an unpopular opinion amongst your friends or amongst your colleagues, especially when it comes to entering industries such as this. I know a lot of people, when they hear hospitality, it's a little bit of a taboo conversation, like hospitality, what is that? But be open and don't be scared to take the path that's unknown or that you may not know about, and go after what you want. Go after, if there's a position that you don't see, go ahead and make a position that you want to see, that you want to be there. So I think those are my main 2 points. Don't be scared and be open.
Love that. What a great note to end on. Kaiyn, young folks to have a marketing mindset is just brilliant. It's brilliant to see it manifested in you.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best going forward, and I'm coming to visit, and I'm not joking. I'm coming to visit, and thank you for joining us for this conversation.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Marketing Mindset, Lessons from Hospitality. Marketing Mindset is a production of Think Tank Media and the Hospitality Nexus, the global platform for hospitality education, with resources such as podcasts, articles, and video tutorials. I'm your host, Leora Lanz, and if you want to learn more about how we can work together, visit my LinkedIn at Leora Lanz. Remember to order a copy of my debut book, the international bestseller, Developing Your Marketing Mindset, Real-World Lessons from Hospitality, which also won the Business Book of 2025 award from the New England Book Festival. And the newest in the series, the companion book, Marketing Mindset in Motion, inspired by hospitality. Everything you need to think like a marketer for your business, your service, or yourself. Connect with meaning through wellness, sustainability, and community to market with meaning and remember the hospitality. Until next time.